Hi, welcome to another episode of Double J's List. I'm here with my friend Joe with his Veloster N. And get a chance, please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. So what year is this Veloster?
It is a 2021. I've owned it for about 15 months now. About 17,000 miles on it. It has a dual clutch transmission. That this is the first year that it was available for that, and one of my main reasons for buying it. It's been a pretty good, pretty interesting, and extremely fun to drive car in the time that I've had it.
So let's take a quick look at it. You got it in the I'm not very shy red. But it is, well, you've done some modifications of this for autocross, correct?
The only thing that I have done modification-wise is I put a bigger rear sway bar in it. I have an aftermarket air filter, and the alignment is a lot more aggressive than stock.
Actually, if you look, I guess you can see a little bit of negative camber in that rear wheel, the way it sits. I'm not sure how well it shows up on camera, but I can see it. But let's back it up a little bit. What makes the Veloster, specifically the N model, unique in its segment?
Well, nowadays, the front-wheel drive hot hatch category is pretty much this and the Volkswagen GTI as far as entry-level pricing and front-wheel drive ability. This comparison to the GTI is far more Spartan, but far more aggressive in how both looks and how it drives.
One thing that's really unique about this is that, and this goes for all Velosters, not just the N, it has two doors on the passenger side, and they sneak this rear door in. It's got a cool little handle up here that opens up to the back seat, which actually is pretty decently sized considering how small this car is. I think it's a lot shorter than a GTI. Am I wrong on that?
Honestly, I'm not sure, but I mean, I'm not exactly a small guy, and when I have my front seat set up for myself, I can still fit behind me in the back seat. I'm not saying it's the most comfortable thing in the world, but I fit, which is saying a lot as far as the size of it.
And see here, no handle, no door. So that's a really strange thing about this car. Not many cars are like that. I know that the hatch it's a higher lift over than a lot of other cars, it appears. Is there a button right here?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. But the hatch is a good size. I would say that's comparable to a GTI.
Yeah, I can take my family of four with all of our suitcases and whatnot on a 4 to 5 day trip. I've actually done that before.
Now, we've covered the outside. Let's take a look at the inside really quick. The seats are very aggressive. I would say more aggressive than the GTIs by far, especially in the lower bolster. It has these weird blue seat belts. That's an N thing, I assume, right? That seems to be the color.
Yes, all also, the N models have the blue seat belts.
They tie that blue in with some of the switchgear. It appears to be for the performance stuff, drive mode, and then that's the N mode, that checkered flag one.
Yes.
And then the little N's on the seat light up. That's pretty wild. Other than that, pretty straightforward interior, it appears. Nothing crazy, right?
Yeah, the interior is not exactly feature heavy. A lot of hard black plastics, a lot of grays, things like that. Nothing special, but those kind of cutbacks are what made this car quite affordable in its segment.
It was low 30s. I was looking them up.
Yeah, I forget exactly what this stickered for. I think it was like 32.8.
Because in the world, we're living in a world of $40,000 GTIs.
Yes. And
so
I actually bought this at a time where I even still got a couple of grand off the sticker.
Wow.
So
that's unheard of now.
Its value was pretty incredible.
Now, looking at this, yeah, other than that, this is all pretty much standard Hyundai stuff except for a couple performance things. The paddles are a nice silver. They have a good feel. One of the things I can't stand is when they put paddle shifters in and they feel like a cheap switch. My old Chevy Bolt headed paddle felt like it was disconnected. It was awful. This actually feels good. Other than that, it looks like it has climate control. Big screen, probably does CarPlay, like everything does now.
Yes.
Nothing crazy. So I think what we really need to do, there isn't a whole heck of a lot to talk about with this car. The styling is what it is. It's all about the drive.
Yes, this, as far as a front-wheel drive car, I would argue that it's one of the most incredible front-wheel drive driving experiences there's out there right now.
Well, all right, let's get this on the road. All right, before we jet off, Joe's going to take us through, this is called the N menu, I believe, in the infotainment.
Yes, if you actually, it's the N mode menu. So when you go up here, the biggest thing that I use for this is the custom mode, which you can put your own settings into a special custom mode that you can have it set up the way you want. Like when I autocross, I usually have traction control off, suspension full stiff. Everything else is maxed out, but I keep the steering super light so I can whip the wheel around faster. And this is kind of my standard autocross mode.
Especially with these electric power steering cars, even if you put it to a firmer steering, you're not increasing feel.
No.
It just makes it harder.
Yeah, it's really, I like keeping it as light as possible, and it really hasn't, the stiffer modes really don't improve it. I have been on track where in full N mode and with the heavier steering on a track at speed does help. Mm-hmm. So I do keep it heavier steering wise in that regard. A couple other things. So in this performance option menus, I have a launch control, which you can, I think 3,500 is as high as you can go, and it's pretty easy to use. Definitely helps with the launch. Mm-hmm. You can get a nice throw yourself in the back into the back of the seat feel out of it. These other ones, the power shift, it's always on. I've never really felt a difference. Same with the track shift. If you are in automatic mode, in N mode, it will hold the shift through like a certain level of G's or something like that. Once again, it's always on, so I never really change it. And the shift light, it just shows up your shift points. You can alter it. I've never touched any of this in the time I've been using it, but if you want, there's lights above the park and mileage indicator that will light up there, as you accelerate. And they are, once I'm driving, I do see them out of the peripheral of my eye, so they do work well in that regard. Your G-force, this keeps you can't reset it, but it keeps a historical accounting of your G-force levels. I don't know how long it lasts, but that, I'll look at it every now and then, but I use a whole separate data collection system for when I'm autocrossing, so I don't use it for a whole lot. But it's got a bunch of things that over time, graphs that you can look at. This is just a lot of quirky stuff. I don't feel there's a whole lot of use to it, but then again, I use separate data for a lot of this stuff. So
what does dual gauges do? So, you can compare things?
Yeah, well, it gives you the torque, and the oil temp, and then you can adjust the menus on what you want out of that.
Okay. Wow, that's a lot of stuff that you can play with.
Yeah, and honestly, the layout of the Kona N and the Elantra N, they're a lot better than this. I've been in both now quite a bit, and you can tell that this was very much a first run idea, and Hyundai has since improved it pretty dramatically in some of the newer N cars.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because those came out like 2 years after this.
Yeah, 3 years.
2 or 3 years.
actually.
Yeah. So yeah, they were able, with electronics. You know, there's quantum leaps in development and things like that. All right, now let's actually drive it. All right, behind the wheel of the 2021 Hyundai Veloster N. Right now we are in normal mode. Joe's just explained to me what normal mode is, and quite frankly, yes, the car is very normal. I just did a kind of a hard acceleration, and it did a very soft upshift like a traditional automatic. Now, we'll put this in, what will be the good mode for like sport driving on the street? Would it be sport? There's like sport plus and N?
Well, I would normally run in N mode, and I would do my shifting manually.
Okay.
Because, like, in N mode, you just can't leave it in automatic because it just keeps you in such high gears all the time that it's really not useful on the street.
Right.
But once you just use the transmission, the paddles to control your gears, it's a lot more usable.
So N, I have to hit this button for N.
Yep.
There we go. And then to manual, I just slide it over?
Yep, slide it to the left.
Okay, just like a VW.
Yeah, in that
The steering
regard,
did firm up on me.
yeah, that's full N mode puts it into that heavy steering.
It got louder. Oh yeah, it's just really quick. Oh, that is better than most.
Yeah, the Hyundai has really knocked it out of the park with this transmission. Like, that is the one thing about this car in the time I've owned it that I continue to be impressed by. It is really, really good. It is much better than the Volkswagen DSG.
So right here is a really long, nice sweeper. It's a little off camber. Wow, this car makes it feel like it's nothing, though. I could have done that much faster. It would have been completely comfortable.
Oh yeah, definitely. I like telling people that when I first test drove this car, I came from a 2016 Subaru WRX STI, and by the time I did the first on-ramp onto the expressway, by the end of that, I knew I was buying this car because the steering feel is
Oh, the turning is
so
fantastic.
good. This has no business being as good as it is for a front-wheel drive car as far as its steering feel.
This is one of my favorite uphill kind of corkscrew kind of turns. And it is eating this up like nothing. Wow.
So one thing that I've really felt, just it's rare that I get to be a passenger in my own car, but I've been a passenger a lot in one of the main car competitors, especially autocross wise, of this car, the Honda Civic Type R. Like, you can really feel that this car is down on power to the Type R. Like, this car...
Oh, that upshit's so good. It's like someone manually shifting hard.
Yeah, it's an absolute blast.
Wow. This was lacking in my DSG TDI.
Oh, definitely.
No matter what I did in that, I couldn't make it feel that much fun.
And like, while the upshifts are great in this, the downshifts are just as good. It's one thing, I've owned a couple of DSG Volkswagen products, and the downshifts on them always felt like they took longer than they needed to. Where this, on its downshifts, it's incredibly fast. As fast as the upshifts.
What's weird about these cars that have paddles like this, I forget to downshift them. Because it's an automatic. I get the upshifts and I hit it, but like just that right there, I had to slow down to go around something. I forgot to downshift and I was like, oh, I got to take it down myself. I know the cars automatically do it sometimes for you.
Yes, it'll do it, and it does it pretty low, but even sometimes, like when I remember to do it and then it's downshifting at the same time, sometimes they'll do a double downshift, but even that, like, it doesn't feel like like it's really upsetting the car too much.
Yeah, I will say that this is an automatic car that doesn't suck. I mean, I've said there've been good automatics out there, but this might be the best one I've driven so far, I think. Actually, you know, because I think the ZF8 speed that's in a lot of the Chrysler stuff, the performance versions, I think that's better than Volkswagen's DSG.
Yes, that's a great transmission.
It's a good transmission.
Well.
This is even more responsive and fun. Doesn't have the crazy power that whatever that ZF8 speed would be in.
Yeah,
oh, that front diff too.
Yeah, the front diff on this being electronically controlled, similar to the Volkswagen, you'll feel the push and then feel it engage. But if it's engaging and still pushing, it kind of does this unlock, lock kind of thing to get you going in the right direction. And in that regard, it's far superior to...
It does downshift good.
Yes.
Sorry.
It's far superior to a mechanical differential.
Yeah, I'm used to driving open diff front drive cars with torque. Like my Saab around that corner would have like just absolutely liquefied the front inside tire. I drive cautiously because I'm like, oh, I don't want to spin that tire a ton. You don't have to do that in this car.
No,
it
not
just
at
bites.
All. And this is on the stock tires. When it's on 200 treadwear tires, it's even...
I can imagine it's great, yeah.
Exponentially better.
People going out and doing stuff on my course. Landscapers. Wow. It's precise. Wow. Because this okay. You can't do that with a manual, the way I just like upshifted and downshifted really quickly through all of that.
Yeah, that's like you can shift in the middle of a turn and it doesn't upset anything.
Not at all.
Which is, one, it's amazing, and two, it's for the stuff that I use this car for, it's quite useful.
Yeah, in a situation where like in a manual you wouldn't downshift or upshift because I gotta have to shift again. This you can do it. Because you can be in the ideal gear at the right time. We're gonna take an extended version. Oh, I gotta shift because I forgot. But I could probably just go back to normal mode as we drive through town here. All right, we're gonna start it back up when we get to the good roads. We're taking a little extended twisty road fun with this car because why not, right? So, all right, I'm gonna put it back into N mode. And we're in manual mode. We'll go up the hill, one of my secret courses. This is great.
And that's another thing about this transmission is the only time it'll force an upshift is the 1-2 upshift at red line.
Okay.
Any of the other gears, it will hold at red line, being off the limiter.
Wow.
As long as you want.
It just... I'm doing this... I'm not even that familiar with the car, and it's just... Yeah, go right ahead. This is like a reducing radius turn. This is always a challenge. And it's just like, stuck it. Just stuck it. Wow. Yeah, I could have downshifted a second there, but I didn't, and it still clawed its way through the revs. Wow. Very good. Wow.
Yeah, well, it's not the fastest car out there.
It's composed.
And the turbo spools up pretty early. You do get some fairly good low RPM boost buildup. There have been times where I have felt the lag where I really wished I had a little more power, but for the most part, it does quite well.
Yeah, this is good. Right, now we're on a little bit rougher road. We're starting to feel that rough suspension.
Yeah, and
especially in N mode.
Yeah, with the N mode suspension, it gets incredibly stiff. It's not something I like to drive around in.
No, this is a great road though. This is my little route here. Anybody local to Western New York, if you think you know what roads I'm on, leave comments down below. Another bit of a sweeper. So this feels really at home in that tight stuff. So I can see why this is great at autocross.
Yeah, definitely. Like, this has been an incredible car to autocross. I absolutely love driving this car.
Oh my God, this car's faster than my 85 GTI through here. There. Yeah. All right, now this is the really good twisty part here. Let's take it right down to second. This is a great little spot right here. Almost feels like California up in the woods.
When you're high up in the gear or RPMs and you let off the gas, you really get a lot of those poppy sounds.
I hear that.
Stock crackle tune, yo.
Yeah, it does. This is the tight turn right here. I went down there first. Okay, and it let me, by the way. I'm surprised it did that. Wow, it just pulled out of that fast.
Yeah, that's as long as you aren't doing anything silly. It'll even, as far as speed, it'll let you downshift all the way back into first. I actually use that quite a bit in tight turns at autocross to help power out a little quicker.
I don't think traction control jumped in at any point at all.
Oh, and we did have traction control on the whole time.
Yeah, I noticed it was like a sport mode.
Yes, the sport mode, it will let you get a little bit squirrely. It will let you spin the front tires, but once you get a little bit of too much understeer or you get a little bit too much rotation, it will kick in and apply the brakes and keep you from doing anything really stupid. Sometimes. I've spun out with full traction control on in this car though.
So in conclusion, I only drove it about 70% because I wasn't comfortable with it, and you could feel that the limits were way, way, way beyond what I was driving it. I would say it almost could go to like 110% because it's that confident. I want to thank Joe for letting me drive his car. It was unbelievably good. I obviously, like, we've all seen reviews already on this car, and they're all really good, and I totally understand and get why now. Hyundai has grown so much as a company. They aren't that company from 20 years ago were making very mediocre cars. This is right there is one of the best hot hatches I think I've ever driven, quite frankly. But anyway, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you get a chance, and thanks again.